One night, 2 surprises the secret that changed our lives forever. The message arrived at 2:17 a.m. If you ever loved me, don't come looking for me. I stared at the screen in disbelief. Just 6 hours earlier, Sophie had been sitting across from me, smiling, laughing, and talking about our future. Now she was gone. Her apartment was empty, her phone was switched off, and on the kitchen table. She had left behind a photograph of a little girl I had never seen before. On the back of the photo were 5 words. She's the reason I lied. Who was the little girl? Why had Sophie disappeared? And what secret had she been hiding from me all along? The night everything began. The storm started just after sunset, heavy. Rain hammered the streets as Daniel hurried toward his car after another exhausting day at work. He hated storms. Not because of the rain, because 3 years earlier, a rainy night had taken his father away forever. As he reached his car, he noticed someone standing beneath a flickering streetlight, a young woman, completely soaked, holding a broken umbrella. She looked lost for a moment. Daniel considered driving away, but something stopped him. Maybe it was the sadness in her eyes. Maybe it was fate. He rolled down the window. Need a ride? The woman hesitated, then nodded just for a few blocks. Daniel smiled. Get in. The moment she sat beside him, he felt something strange. A connection the kind people spend years searching for. I'm Daniel, she smiled, softly. Sophie, the drive lasted only 15 minutes, but somehow they talked as if they'd known each other forever. They laughed, shared stories, shared dreams, and for the first time in years, Daniel felt truly alive. Before leaving, Sophie looked at him carefully. Do you believe people meet for a reason? Daniel laughed. I didn't, until tonight. For a second, her smile faded, almost as if she wanted to tell him something important, something she couldn't say. Then she handed him a small piece of paper. Her number, call me tomorrow. Daniel watched her disappear into the rain. He had no idea that meeting Sophie would change his life forever, or that she was already hiding a secret capable of destroying everything. The next morning, Daniel called, then again and again. No answer. Hours passed. Finally, near midnight, his phone buzzed. A message from Sophie. Meet me at the old cafe downtown. Midnight. Why would she wait all day to answer? And why did her message feel more like a warning than an invitation? Twist. When Daniel arrived at the cafe, Sophie wasn't alone. A little girl sat beside her, the same girl from the photograph he would later find. But at that moment, Daniel didn't know how important she was. Sophie quickly sent the girl inside, then turned to him. Her hands were shaking. Daniel, there's something I need to tell you. Before she could continue, a black SUV stopped across the street. Sophie's face turned pale, and seconds later, she ran, leaving Daniel standing alone in confusion. Who was in the SUV, and why was Sophie terrified? The secrets grow deeper. For weeks, Sophie disappeared. No calls, no messages, nothing. Daniel tried to move on, but he couldn't. Every day he thought about her. Every night he wondered what had happened. Then, one evening, everything changed. His phone rang. Unknown number. When he answered, he heard Sophie crying. Please don't hang up. Daniel's heart stopped. Sophie, where are you? I can't tell you why. Silence then, because they're watching me. Daniel felt chills. Who? Again, silence. Then, the line disconnected. The next day, Daniel received a package. No return address. Inside was a journal. Sophie's journal. As he turned the pages, he discovered shocking details. She had spent years hiding from someone powerful, someone dangerous. But one page stood out. A page covered in tears. At the top she had written, the truth about Emma, double quotes Emma, the little girl. Daniel continued reading, and suddenly everything changed. Emma wasn't Sophie's sister. She wasn't her cousin. She wasn't her friend. Emma was her daughter. Why had Sophie hidden a child from him? And what else wasn't she telling him? Twist number A. A few pages later, Daniel found another secret. A DNA test. Folded between the pages. At first he didn't understand. Then he read the names. His hands started shaking because, according to the document, Emma was his daughter too. Impossible. Daniel had never even known Sophie before that rainy night, or so he thought. How could he be Emma's father? And what had Sophie been hiding for all these years? The truth finally emerges. Determined to find answers, Daniel investigated Sophie's past. The deeper he looked, the stranger everything became. Eventually, he discovered something unbelievable. 5 years earlier, Daniel had been involved in a serious car accident. The crash had left him unconscious for weeks. When he woke up, doctors told him he had temporary memory loss. Most memories returned. Some never did, including an entire summer. A summer during which he had met Sophie. Fallen in love, and unknowingly become a father. Daniel couldn't believe it. His forgotten past was returning piece by piece. But another question remained. Why had Sophie hidden Emma? The answer came sooner than expected, because Sophie finally returned. Late one night, she appeared at Daniel's door, exhausted, terrified, holding Emma's hand. "I can't run anymore." Daniel stared at her. "Tell me everything." Tears filled her eyes. "The man looking for me is Emma's grandfather." Daniel frowned. "Why?" "Because he's one of the most powerful businessmen in the country." She paused, "and he wants custody." Daniel's blood ran cold. For years, Sophie had been protecting Emma, running from people with money, power, and influence. And now they had finally found her. Would they lose Emma forever? Twist number A. The next morning, another shocking truth emerged. Emma's grandfather wasn't simply wealthy. He owned the company where Daniel worked, and Daniel had unknowingly been working for him for years. The enemy had been standing right in front of him all along. But why was the man so desperate to take Emma? What wasn't he telling them? Twist number Y. During a court investigation, hidden documents were discovered. The billionaire wasn't trying to protect Emma. He was trying to protect himself years earlier. His son had committed financial crimes. The evidence linked directly to family assets. If Emma inherited part of the estate one day, the truth could become public. Emma wasn't the target. She was the threat. Everything Sophie had suffered suddenly made sense. But could they prove it in time? Climax. The final confrontation happened in court. Reporters filled every seat. The billionaire appeared confident, untouchable, until Daniel revealed the evidence. Bank records, emails, witness statements. The courtroom fell silent. One by one, the billionaire's lies collapsed. His reputation shattered. His empire crumbled. And for the first time in years, Sophie felt free. Justice had finally arrived. Or had it twist #5. After the trial ended? Sophie handed Daniel a final envelope. Inside was a letter, written years earlier by Daniel himself. Before the accident, the final line made his heart stop. "If anything ever happens to me, promise you'll tell our daughter how much I loved her." The memories came flooding back. Every moment, every promise, every dream. And finally, everything made sense. Ending 1 year later, Daniel, Sophie, and Emma stood together on a quiet beach. The storm that had once brought them together was gone. The future finally looked bright. Emma laughed as waves touched her feet. Sophie squeezed Daniel's hand. "Do you believe? People meet for a reason now." Daniel smiled. "I know they do." Sophie kissed him softly, and for the first time in years, there were no secrets left between them. At least that's what Daniel believed, because that night, after everyone fell asleep, Sophie opened an old box hidden in the closet. Inside was another letter, one Daniel had never seen. A letter addressed to Emma, and as Sophie read the first line, her face turned completely pale. The story she had told Daniel wasn't the whole truth after all. Story about Daniel Pensaba Q Aquella, Nuce Luviosa, Syria una, ms en su, rutina. Sin embargo, cuando una desconocida, llamada Sofía apareció pidiendo ayuda. Comenzó una cadena de acontecimientos que cambiaría su vida para siempre. Lo que empezó como una conexión instantánea se convirtió en una historia llena de secretos, emociones y revelaciones inesperadas. A medida que ambos se enamoran, aparecen misterios, Sabra, el pasado, de Sofía, una familia que oculta, verdades, y una familia, que oculta verdades y una familia. Wanka familia fanoa coincuno y osora proendento in saco saut, gosid aquo sod en uncoin cuno slis asagoin coquin soa pinidin upper and into impun fetterone like up seka and what I thought the other glad like the week that the fat that would I be with the echo I will you the get the fact what I kept cool got or I quick go with what that would the up Mako gust I was spell about not that well the ability sad from what so bad was when but Cuando todo parece perdida una revelación impactante obliga a Daniel a cuestionar todo lo que crea saber. Entre promesas rotas. Decisions difíciles y un amor que desafía todas las probabilidades. Esta historia demuestra que algunas noches duran porazón. Poro el mayor secreto no será revelado hasta el último momento. Call to action, te gusto esta historia. Dale like si crees en las segundas oportunidades, suscribit para ms historias románticas, líneas de emoción, y gyros, inesperados, comenta, chohe brias, echo tu en el lugar de Daniel.